Hi, what's up, people? Welcome back to another podcast. First of all, a very happy Diwali, and to every Guju out there is celebrating. Nutan Varashna khub shubheksha. Before we start the podcast, the guest who's coming today is a wonderful human being, a helping hand, a travel geek, and a working professional turned into an international student. Let's begin this journey with a little bit of support. अगर आपको मेरे पिछले पॉडकास्ट अच्छे लगे हैं तो एक सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलिएगा एंड आई लव इट व्हेन यू ड्रॉप दो स्मॉल मैसेजेस अबाउट दिस टाइनी लिटिल क्लिप्स दैट आई पोस्ट. तो सिर्फ मुझे थोड़ा सपोर्ट करना मत भूलिएगा एंड लेट्स डाइव इनटू द पॉडकास्ट. आई सी यू एट द एंड. Okay. Hi Sherin, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Aryan, for having me here today. I'm doing good.
Okay. Before we start, I want a small introduction about you. आप कहाँ से हो, कैसे हो? Just tell me about you.
My name is Sherin. After my studies, I became Dr. Sherin.
Okay.
So that was a journey. To start from where I am, my roots are from Kerala.
Okay.
But then most of the people whom I meet, they say that I do not look a South Indian or a Keralite.
True.
That has a reason for it because most of my life, like as a baby, my parents were settled in Mumbai, Maharashtra.
Right.
We moved. So whatever I have inherited, my friends, my family, even the way I have been eating has been influenced a lot by the Maharashtrian culture. So more than idli, dosha, any time of the day, it's always chapati, dal or some rasa. That's what I would go towards. That's what I'm inclined towards. So that place has influenced me a lot. So I did my schooling over there in Mumbai. Later for college, I chose Doctor of Pharmacy, and that is how my healthcare journey started. And there is also a story why I chose pharmacy. When I was there are so many streams to go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that is when I think in 2010 or 2011, my grandmother passed away.
Oh.
She was very close to me. The reason was she was diabetic. She had a lot of medications she was taking. Polypharmacy. You all know that, like we all do that, like medicine for diabetes, blood sugar, blood pressure, so much of things she was taking at a time.
Right.
Taking all this medicine at that time, she had a set of like pile of tablets she would take at a time. Or no, we had a home nurse. I remember she would take all the tablets, give her, and she'll take it out. It went on for like so many years. She ended up in having multiple organ failure. It started with liver, affecting her liver, ended up with multiple organ failure, and that's how she passed away. That is when I wanted to realize that what exactly goes on. Like if someone had educated us more, maybe my grandmother would have stayed a bit more. And I thought, what is always, if the medicine is something that should be healing, how can it be like something that caused disaster or taking of someone's life?
True.
That's a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything has two sides to it. But then this was something, that was my thought process. Like not another patient should lose that. I want to counsel. I want to understand how medicine works.
Oh.
I need to counsel people. Like be vigilant. If you're eating something, even a simple paracetamol that you have, you take, can cause hepatotoxicity. You talk about paracetamol, right? It has an effect of hepatotoxicity. So I wanted to understand more about that. That was my driving motivation towards taking up pharmacy.
Wow.
And then from there the journey continued. I took up PharmD in Pune.
Okay.
Bharati Vidyapit.
Wow.
Many of my colleagues. Bharati Vidyapit is so huge that we have colleagues everywhere. Even now when we are studying, there are so many people from Bharati Vidyapit.
Wow.
So it's an extended journey that we had. And amazing 6 years of college I had.
Right.
After that, I got into college placement. I started as a clinical pharmacist. There I realized that what I used to do was going on rounds, what the patient medications were, how these drug interactions happen, if there are some changes that like some drugs cannot go together, like an NSAID and an anticoagulant, you cannot give together. There are toxicity. So change the timing. If sometimes because in India there are so many patients, and what is the ratio of patient to doctor, right? They know that they need it and they prescribe it and go. They may not at times think about what this interaction goes or how it could, what are the other values. They fail to take, that is the reality actually, that they do not have that much of time to sit with a patient and interrogate about is there any other medicine. It is happening right now, but then earlier I have seen that changes have been happening. NABH has come up, it has become stringent with every hospital that we work. So that was a motivation, and then that is what I used to work in. So made quite a lot of changes in the way prescribing happened in the hospital that I was working with. So I worked for almost 1 year.
Wow.
By then what, I was 25, 26. Marriage happens like everyone.
Okay.
I met my partner and then I moved to Singapore.
Wow.
So life changed entirely. Moving to Singapore was something. Singapore is a country that I have heard of, but never thought of going and staying, you know.
Yeah.
I could not, because Singapore is so small on the map, you do not even know that it could influence someone so much, or it had the capacity. Maybe my knowledge was so bad. I have heard about Canada, the US. Everyone dream of have that American dreams. I was in a pursuit that I'll take some experience in India. I wanted to understand what happens beyond that. Like, you know, how is the healthcare system. I wanted to pursue that. So I was getting ready for all those, like coming over. I had this plan in my mind that I'll go abroad, study somewhere, understand how the healthcare here works. Because every life matters here. If you see, everybody is insured.
True.
Even your dogs are insured here, right? That much how life has value in the Western counterpart compared to what is in India. At that time, that is what my thought was as an 18-year-old. But then Singapore happened. Amidst all this thing, what I missed to emphasize was my parents were in Saudi Arabia. So my dad moved to Saudi Arabia when I was in grade 3 or grade 4. But my mom stayed back till I was in 10th grade. Till that I could take care of myself. She stood by me. But then they always taught us a value of like being independent. Being a girl, at times I have seen many of my friends did not have that equal opportunity. Being a girl, it was said that you don't have to study much, one day you have to be sent off. I don't know if this does not happen in this age, I know, especially with you guys being the, Gen Zs. It does not happen. When I was growing up, it was the case, okay? That many of them did not actually, like, they'll give them basic education, but sending them for higher studies and all, it was not very common also. They used to, but there were hesitation. Some parents came up, but some still had their own reservation. No, what happens, you know? But then my parents, opposed to all that, were very supporting. They made me bold. They let me talk. I had a voice in my house. Being the first child of the house, I had a voice. They taught me how to have a voice. When you see that you do not like it, raise it up. But then there is a way to talk about it. Not like be respectful, but then bring up your point in a very diligent manner with dignity. Speak. That is what they taught me from childhood. Later, my mom also moved to Saudi Arabia when I was like 16, 17. She also moved. So it was only me and my brother. I moved to hostel. Things I learned from there was like being independent, taking care of myself. I learned at very young age. And today I'm very much unapologetic of who I am. Back then I was not, because I had my reservation of talking whom I might offend. And maybe the way I am to bring up that, you know, every person has a mask. That's what I believe. Like to you I might be speaking with a very friendly face, but then later on maybe I'm not. I don't feel that good. But you don't have to be that way. That took me time to learn how to be unapologetic and be yourself, you know, wherever you are. What matters to you, voice it out. If that matters to you, it matters to you. Something you believe in, be a firm believer of that, even if nobody believes in that. You know. So, and they also brought me up in a very Christian faith. I had been going in church, And the best part about that is I learned the value of community from there.
Wow.
How to serve community and bringing people together. But then when I was child, I didn't realize the value of it, to be honest.
Right.
Our pastor used to say we have to go to a community, serve this community, come back. So it was like, what are we investing? Your energy, your knowledge, and whatever time you have, that is what your most of it is your energy and your time.
Right.
But as a teenager, you want to invest it in some elsewhere. True. Rather than going and helping someone, right?
True.
But life changed when there was a volunteering opportunity. In Pune, I was with this church, and then the pastor said, "You are into healthcare." I was doing my pharmacy. I was about to finish my pharmacy school, so I had pretty much of the experience what I have learned. Almost after 5 years of college, I guess. We went to a rural area away from Pune, like 2 hours journey from Pune. I still know, I cannot recollect. It's like so many years now. That was a changing moment of my life. I went to a rural place. The aim was the pastor gathered all the healthcare professionals in our church, being doctors, nurses, pharmacy students, other health professionals, whoever can help. We all went in a minivan, sang song, reached that destination. So I thought my friends are also joining. I'll have some time, spend some community time, because it is asked of me.
Yeah.
My parents wanted me to give it back to the community because
Right.
they made me into that opportunity. Like they gave me that opportunity where I had enough. So that sense of giving back was important for my family.
Right.
So for that sake, I went. But Aryan, I tell you, when I went there, I saw a group of, a lot of family members over there. They are actually nomads. I'm speaking about India, not very long back. It's like 2016, I guess. I'm talking about 2016. Oh, how many years? 8 years? Yeah, 2016. They are nomads. They keep wandering from one state to, I think they're called Banjaras. Some tribe. They had this tribe name also, okay? But they do not belong to one particular place, okay? And they do not have Aadhaar card.
Oh.
They do not belong to that particular. If you ask, are you Maharashtrian? Are you from this particular city? They do not have that exact location or any identifying thing to identify them. So we realized that they were not getting any incentives from government. India does a lot to bring up the poor people who are under poverty and all. They do a lot, but there are some people like this also, and it took me by surprise. There are people who are not even listed. They leave, they die, they're not accounted. Can you imagine? No one knows about it.
So what language do they speak?
They have some mixed language. It was like Marathi plus some other languages. They know Marathi because they were staying there. They know Marathi, but then that has an accent mixed from, I think that comes from Rajasthan or somewhere. That's a mixed kind of language. It was not even Marwadi because they usually Rajasthan, something their own language they had. But they are well good in Marathi because they have been coming to Maharashtra, staying for some time now. Their generations, they want to bring it up there. They understood that nomadic lifestyle is no more what they wanted.
Right.
So they settled down there. And their girls, our plan was to give them healthcare, health aid, and talk to the girls because they are going through some problems. That's what we understood. I don't know what was the research done behind it. I just went along with the flow, so I still don't know what was the channel that came to us. These girls were using sanitary pads. They did not have access to sanitary pads. They were using clothes that were not even hygienic, old some rack clothes or something like that already is not properly clean or anything, and they had infections coming out. Imagine, we are talking about girls who are like in their 15 years, and they do not understand these things, and then having recurrent UTIs, fever resulting out of that, some girls who had intensified, the UTI being intensified, that they started having back pains and all these things. This thing, me at that age, I know how privileged I was because I had access to all, you name the sanitary pads we need in India. If I had problems with the plastic that comes along with it, I had an option to choose 2 cotton ones.
True.
It's more expensive, but I had access. I was privileged in that. But these girls using these rags, I understood that how much they were in need, how much they were in need to be educated.
Right.
So first started with providing a diagram why this happens, how this happens, how much cleanliness and hygiene is important. We had some partnership with some companies that sponsors these products, some medicines and everything. So these doctors, even at the same time, like when our group was counseling these young girls, we had a session, then impromptu plan. We didn't realize that this was a need and we would require a counseling.
Right.
Impromptu separated the girls out, started counseling them. And then on the other side, the doctors were looking after the patients who required some common medicines that could be prescribed over there. Like we had some, paracetamol, something for antibiotics, like for throat, ear infections, all those things which we could give there, then and there, whatever supplements there, according to the situation or symptoms that we had. The doctors prescribed them and gave them medicines also. Then we, on the other hand, we started counseling the girls, provided them some sanitary napkins, told them even if you are using clothes are the best things to use. Even today we are like going back to the olden days of how things were. We understand that more than plastic or any other pads, clothes are better.
Right.
But then reusing it, like how that hygiene should be there. We started teaching them each and everything, like how this should be washed, how sanitization help, how to have that hygiene and everything. Even we started educating them on things outside of they showed curiosity to read, learn. At the age of 14, they are showing curiosity that we want to read, we want to learn.
Right.
They'll be like calling Didi. Didi means sister, Yeah, like elder sister, like calling them. That thing is like echoing in my mind. That is when we realized maybe one day of my life I spent with this girl, and then we had follow-ups. Slowly their life started changing. Some of them got even, the church took it an initiative to bring them into the list, doing the necessary, like whoever the politicians were involved, directing them to them and getting them registered with the city. It was a long process, but story short, we had them added into the list so that they were accountable for, they had access to medicine. We'll go up. So do you understand like where it started? Like a small thing, like what was that? Just your time and your energy. But how did that change the life of so many people and so many girls and boys over there who got access to education, sanitary napkins, what hygiene was, they understood it. Even if they did not have that means to buy sanitary pads, we directed some sponsorship towards them. But even if they had to use those clothes again, we told them how to use it. Right? So there are people who can use a little bit of your privilege that can turn the life of so many people. So that was a changing moment in my time, and I always realized that is where even though I have been doing it voluntarily, that was for the sake of my parents and for the church I belong to. But then I took it onto myself when I saw that change firsthand with my own eyes. Just my time, my education, and little bit of my energy. And volunteering became a part of my life ever since. So wherever I could, even though it is financially or it is investing in my time or my energy, I'll do that. So at the age of 18, I understood that. And sense of community, I already had that because my family was away. I did not have anyone. Right? So my friends became my family. So I knew that friends are something that you can lean on. But making friends are also some you learn, you get hit, and then you realize. That's again called resilience, I would say. You fail, you understand things that sometimes you are hurt. You don't know what kind of. Earlier I didn't realize that what kind of people you need to surround yourself with. I fell a lot. I learned a lot how to choose the people you have to surround yourself with, and from there I gained strength. And today I know that I'm blessed with so many people that I can call family, because I remember like moving from Singapore to Canada was a journey in itself. I had all the luxury, I had a good job, my husband had a good job, we had a house, and then that is when we thought that we want to. Singapore has a limitation of getting a PR. And then I was married for like 5 years, and then we realized that we need some place where we can have a house, buy a house, start our family, grow our family. That's when we took, and I also wanted to study. That was like long-term plan which I postponed when I got married. So I was like, why not now? That was a bit of a big, huge step that I took, leaving that comfort and stepping aside and coming over here.
Yeah.
Here I came, it had its own challenges. Like the winter itself, if you speak, we have never been acclimatized to all this kind of winter, like harsh weather here. Now we are okay, now that we are 1 year into it, we are okay. But then the first time when we came in September, I still remember how cold it was.
Right.
And but with time to navigate in this weather, I realized the warmth of friends made it easier.
True.
And I had been blessed with so many of our colleagues in our college itself. I remember when I felt sick, I could not even buy, because I cannot eat food out. When you're sick, you don't want food outside. You want some homemade food.
True.
And who is there to provide it for you?
Yeah.
I remember calling Vishesh and this Jasmine were there. They were staying in Scarborough at that time.
Okay.
Middle of the night, I just said that I wish I had some good food, you know.
Right.
That was just a wish that I made. I knew that it's not gonna happen. I'm not even thinking in my wildest dream that someone would come at my door banging with some hot food made at home. They brought some rice and dal. And I'm indebted with my life to them. It's not about rice or dal, the efforts they took in. I think that is something that we know, that friends become family in such situations. Because I was sick. We had guardian insurance, but then I didn't know how to access it with that. I'm still figuring out things. That was like in a very initial stage. They are also getting to know me. That like few classes we took together. But this was the gesture these people made. Like middle of the night they came home, like eat something and then take medicine. They even brought medicines. You know, because we don't have access to medicines every now and then here, right? So Vishesh's father is like into pharmaceutical company. He had some medicine that he got from India. He brought everything.
Wow.
First asked me to take food and then medicine. So I have learned that even though Canada navigating this place is difficult, I made friends and family.
True.
Very close. I met few people, and that has become a very beautiful journey which I'm looking to, and this is something that we'll hold on for a lifetime.
Right.
This we can never forget. So this is a little about me. So after I moved to Singapore, like IQVIA, I was working for an MNC called IQVIA. Where I developed a lot on my professional end. Singapore being Singapore, it's all about precision, structure, discipline. India, we go to work. It's all, every job is like a government sarkari job. Like we do it on our pace, right? But we do not appreciate being on time. Sometimes we go in late, we come out late. We have tea breaks in there. But Singapore, it was entirely different. You know, when I started working, the work culture was different. Work means God to them. So disciplined, so punctual. No nonsense at work. They won't tolerate nonsense. They don't want nonsense. Very straight.
Like you work for a certain period, but it needs to be perfect.
Certain period, and it needs to be perfectly done. But it was not also a certain period. People's life there is work. You know, Japan, Singapore, it's like so much of work pressure that even I had peer pressure, because by the time like I was like navigating things in that 1 hour, if I get my productivity, it is this much. The Singaporeans actually over there who were actually working there, they would have accomplished much more in that given 1 hour. So I realized that I'm lacking something. So I started to investing on myself. How do I increase my productivity? All that ends I learned from Singapore. How to work, how the etiquette of work, how to talk to people. Like no loose talks. That was the important thing that I learned, because they didn't have time for that. Work means work. Apart from that, they'll take some time off, travel the world. That's what I saw, the culture. That gave me a lot of tough time also. There are nights I cried because I could not balance these pressure. It took me some time to understand, because in Asia, what do? We work a lot. We say let our work speak for ourselves, you know. We don't go boasting. I did that, I did this, I know this. We are very shy to express those things what we know. And we have this thing of like work, and then we don't speak much about it. But then later I climbed into this corporate. Even if you are competent, it's not enough. You need to be seen in a corporate. If you want to move across, you need to be seen, Aryan. Like, you don't just do your work and like let my metrics speak for me. No. When you see a higher position, like if you have someone, you're meeting someone on the coffee table, like they are filling their water bottle, just go make a conversation to them. Tell them, yeah, what means to you, what is there. Understand them.
Right.
You tell them what you have been doing, like the elevator pitches and all.
Right.
I learned it there, you know,
Yeah.
like talking to people. I did not had the art of talking to people before that.
True.
How important that was, I learned it there.
Mhm.
Like to be seen, to voice out,
Right.
do smart work, but also brand yourself.
True.
And
Very
that
well
is
said.
very important. In the American counterpart, it's more,
Okay.
where you need to talk
Right.
about yourself a lot.
True.
Lot means you have to, like, if you did that, get your credits for that.
Yeah, it needs to be seen.
It needs to be seen. Otherwise, you will be left. You won't climb that ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, you want to be a positive encouragement to others around you. If you could, you have that value in you, you will be taken up. That's
True.
what I've understood.
So,
So-
was it always like back when you were in India, while you were working in hospital, did you even think that you'll go to Singapore or will you go to Canada and you'll pursue something there? Was it always in your mind?
Most of my family, my cousins, are in US, and some of them are here in Canada. I'm
Okay.
blessed by that. So I had a motive in my plan that I have to get my education here, basic education here, and someday I want to understand what the other world is like. I had that in mind, and I was working towards, like, after I finished my studies, I worked for 1 year in India in a
Mhm.
hospital as a clinical pharmacist.
Right.
Then I thought I'll take 1 more year of experience. After 2 years of experience, I'll just move, come here, take my pharmacy license here in Canada. That was my plan.
Wow. Okay.
But then life had something else planned out for me. I got married. I moved to Singapore, and that
Okay.
is when, from the hospital and that academic sector, I moved to a corporate setting. Corporate setting, in hospital, you are kind, you speak, you understand your patient. That's it. You move to corporate. There's a lot of politics, unsaid politics. You don't have to be a part of the politics, but you need to know how to navigate around it.
True.
All those things I understood in those few years I had been in that corporate
Right.
life,
Right.
and it was professionally, it taught me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, so basically all of this was not a part of the plan, but somehow things
played out.
Yeah, you played out. So how was the transition from Singapore to Canada? Singapore has a different culture. Singapore has different work ethics. So how do you think? How was the transition from there to here?
Singapore and Canada is very different from each other. Even though both of the countries are a first world country, Singapore is very much structured,
Mm-hmm.
disciplined, organized. I think you visited too, right, Ali?
Yeah,
You know how things are very clean. People are very much organized and structured, and they look after themselves. I have seen that. You do your work, you come back.
Right.
I could not form a community there, you know.
Okay.
I don't know if I could say I did not try. What it was, I tried to embrace Singapore, but it's my personal thing. Even COVID happened in between that.
Right.
2 years we were like locked down. Me and my husband, what is similar to us is we travel a lot. We try to meet people. We
Wow.
travel a lot. We enjoy
Wow.
traveling a lot.
Wow.
But this did not happen in the 2 years that we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Singapore, we had like, Singapore is already very small.
Right.
Very small island city it is. Even though beautiful, everything, at time you feel like you are constrained, you are like restricted to a small place. And we had our condo, a small condo, and then me and my husband, I get up, I work, I see him, drink coffee, make something, because we are not even allowed to go
Right.
out. Singapore was very strict on all those, because
Oh, okay.
very strict, like lockdowns were there, and it was like you cannot get out
Right.
unless you have to get some grocery or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was the point when I realized that what, like, I don't have anyone to call family or home at that time. Even though we had church at that time, everybody was going through their own stuff, but then that sense of community, right? It was more of that. Maybe I would like to rephrase that a bit in a different way. It took a lot of took a toll on my mental health,
Right.
being alone. That is when till then we were not motivated to take that risk,
Mm-hmm.
leaving my husband behind and then coming to Canada. That COVID was a time when I realized, no, I don't want this anymore, just work. I want more of a quality life where I have people, I have some free time of my own. I can work on myself.
Right.
There I was only growing professionally, I could feel,
Okay.
I wanted quality of life. That COVID, everything that happened during that time made me reconsider.
Mm-hmm.
Or even though I had money and luxury
Right.
and everything, I understood that those trips that me and my husband planned was something that gave joy to us.
Okay.
Apart from that, what? But then we realized that our families are here closer, and then if you realize that Canada, just like India, it is diverse.
Right.
It's accepting.
True.
We don't pass judgments on each other. We all know that at the end of the day, everyone is an immigrant here in Canada.
True.
Even the whites, we see that we don't know, because I don't think I have met a true Canadian by blood. I think we have one person in our college.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there might be more, but I met one person who is an original. We give the land acknowledgement to them, right?
Right.
So one of those, I met only one person, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then we all have been coming from, even everyone, like whether it be a white or a black or us, browns, Indians or Asians, we are all immigrants.
True.
And we all know the struggles we all came through.
True.
Nobody says it's my country, go back to where you came from, because we are all here to build a life for ourselves. So I found Canada to be more accepting. That being said, inflation is at the highest. So much of things, life is hard here,
Yeah.
but we can form a community here. In that manner, I'm very happy. My husband visited me like for a month or so. So even what he loved about this is like we have places to go around.
Right.
Canada is such a beautiful country. Like if you feel like you want to walk on a trail, you have trails.
True.
You want to go to a mountain, you have mountains to walk. You want to go by the beach side, you have that. Everything over here, a beautiful country, a place where you can think of calling home. And if you have that strength, resilience,
True.
and what it is required, you can build a life here.
Right.
It provides opportunity to everyone.
True.
But that being said, it takes a lot of hardship. I come with a lot of experience. Like I worked in India, I worked in Singapore,
Mm-hmm.
but that does not mean like I start applying somewhere, I start as a manager or a senior position.
Mm-hmm.
I have to start from scratch.
True.
That is the reality, because they emphasize a lot on Canadian experience.
Mm-hmm.
But being open to that, it's okay. It's a part of the journey. And then even if you take up an accept an intern role or as a beginner, if you start also, if you can work, you can show that your acumen is related.
Right.
You can grow up the ladder. I have been talking to this is what I have been doing ever since I came to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
What I did is I realized this fact very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Your network is your net worth
Wow.
here in Canada.
Wow.
Nothing else matter. So I have been diligently trying to talk to people, understand how their journey was.
Mm-hmm.
I even met one of our alumni. She came on a talk with Noora.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she started as an intern with Health Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Today, after 2 years, she's a manager in PEI.
Wow.
But then it was not an easy journey for her. She had a lot of hard work. She worked hard for it, remained resilient. She had to move from Toronto to PEI. It's quite rural.
Yeah.
But then for that professional area, she moved. If you are ready to adjust and put in some work, you can grow.
True.
Canada provides opportunity to everyone. So in this way, Canada and Singapore is different from each other. And I love both the countries, but I love that I am more able to understand myself personally after coming here. I was able to reflect and understand where I want to grow,
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do for myself. Because it's not that fast paced like Singapore. Canada gives you time.
Okay.
It's like you have your own time. Like Singapore is very rushed. Days pass by just like that. Because in a corporate setting, you are in a race, every day, every moment. It's Canada. I remember the first day, I stood there in the airport to cross that immigration for 5 hours.
Oh.
That was my story. I was so frustrated. I wanted to go back. Like if I had a next flight to Singapore and I had energy to go back after a 24 hours long journey, if I had that energy, I would have packed my bag and left the next day. I was so frustrated, sad. Leaving my husband was an emotional baggage already.
Okay, yeah.
And then this queue of 5 hours, people talking like, huh, come in, the way there's like no respect at all.
Yeah.
That is what I felt as a student, you know.
Right.
This is the hard reality of Canada, you know. Coming as a student, you would be looked down. You would not be like, exploitation is there.
Right.
People will ask you, come work for us for free.
Right.
You take experience, we see that you are good, and then we'll think about giving you a job. This has been a story of many students here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was frustrated. This kind of exploitation does not happen in Singapore, you know.
Right.
Everything is by law and all. So I wanted to go the very next day I wanted to. But my husband told me, you're here for a reason. Think about why you took that move. And gave me some time to reflect. And connecting with so many other person, I learned gratitude.
Right.
Like never before, the sense of gratitude came into me, because the stories of so many people, and even Canada is welcoming of refugees.
Right.
You know, the journey, the struggles they have gone through, it can be heart-wrenching. And we are very privileged. Like, we can move anytime we want, you know, wherever we want. So they coming here, and the needs they have, I have been trying to work with some of them through an organization here. So the stories are very hard. So I realized to understand, even in the smallest of bit of things, learn something new,
Right.
redefine success. That is what success is not just professionally. Success is in every small bit of thing. So I redefined success, what success mean to me. So all these things I learned here in Canada. Sense of gratitude, redefining what success is,
Right.
sense of community, and then ever stronger than ever before, you know, having it here was important, because you need people around you
Right.
that could help you drive, that could motivate you. And I'm blessed that I have such kind of people surrounding me. The resources that we have in college,
Right.
people that we have there cheering you up,
Right.
yeah, and then being the part of RAPS, Capra, and all those things has been, every day I learn something new.
Right.
I'm working as a volunteer, but then I'm learning everything every
True.
day.
True.
And whatever you learn never goes to waste. That's what I believe. You're working on yourself. You're learning something new, and one day it will pay you back
True.
in things you can never imagine.
Okay. So that's a nice thing that it has made a difference to you. And will you be able to differentiate how Singapore is better in one way and how Canada is better in one way?
I love Singapore for being structured.
Okay.
You know, you go to airport, you just put your passport there. How many you came to Singapore? How much time did it take?
Max 5 minutes.
Max 5 minutes. They are advanced on top of technology. They use people, they use skills. They put it there is no corruption, do you know, in Singapore? Like, if they find you doing something corrupt, they fine you. Singapore is called a fine country because they fine you for each and everything. And the fine is not just petty fines, it's like huge sum fine.
True.
They want the country to be streamlined, honest people, honesty, discipline is what they look at. So it's very much structured in that way.
Right.
And I love that you need to be held accountable for your actions, and that the government tried to do that.
Wow.
In that way, that is like the best place you can work. You're safe. Anytime you go, 1 a.m., 2 p.m.,
True.
you go to 2 a.m., middle of the night you travel,
It's
you're
very
safe. You know, because the government knows where you are, what you do, police, the people. People are honest.
True.
You drop your wallet, they'll bring it back to you.
They'll come behind you and they'll give you the wallet.
There is a habit of chopping the seats, you know, like if you are in a restaurant or a hawker center, you know how the hawker culture is in Singapore.
Yeah.
So if you want to book that, you want to show that you have occupied that seat, you just put your purse or your phone on that, you go back, place your order, bring back your food, still your purse and phone is there. People know that it is occupied by this person, and that is the trust level and honesty in that country.
Yeah.
Imagine doing it in any part of the world. Can you? So when I left from Singapore to Canada, my husband first, because I had this habit of leaving my phone here and there and then going to order. So my first thing my husband told me is like, you're no more in Singapore. You're going to a different country. Please don't leave your phone and your belongings here and there. Be mindful.
Right.
And I lost also things, you know, because of the attitude and the way my brain worked from Singapore. I had to be hit. I got robbed,
Oh.
Yeah, robbed means someone stole it.
Right.
And after losing it, I realized that, okay, I have to be more careful. It does not work that way. But then Canada is beautiful in its way. It's accepting.
Yeah.
I have realized that you talk to, some people may say, no, they don't have. Well, it's okay. Out of 100, if like 40 people does not show interest to talk to you or they don't want to, they're busy. Okay. But at least I have seen that at least 50% are. You just have to use some simple words, hi, an icebreaker to have a conversation.
They'll open up the whole world.
They'll open up.
Yeah.
They'll talk to you. They genuinely will ask, are you okay? Are you okay? These things are because they are very accepting of each other and they want you to grow as well because they know the hardship they came from.
Right.
So this is a very beautiful part about Canada, like diversity and acceptance and inclusion. These are like strong words, but I have felt that sense of belonging and acceptance. I have felt it here.
Right.
And I have my family here, so that makes it more easier also. But then, this is something beautiful. The country is beautiful in itself.
Wow. Yeah.
We see colors, the leaves changing. This is like, that warms your heart so much. So I love Canada for being open to immigrants like ourselves and help them build a life.
Yeah.
So many people have built a life here.
Right.
Being immigrants, they have reached like high standards. And I'm hoping that this country has opened up so much. I am able to provide a value back. When I reach that position, I want to work hard and I want to give back to the community here in Canada as well and wherever I am. It taught me a lot of humanity. And like I told you, I mentioned I have been traveling a lot. The world is big. At the same time, it's smaller also.
Yeah.
Big in the sense that culturally, there is so much of diversity that I see. I travel to Thailand, I travel to Dubai,
Wow.
US, Canada, Mauritius. Every culture I still want to travel a lot.
Right.
So traveling has opened up these kind of openness in my heart, which I was a bit conservative or I had my own reservation before. But traveling has shown that we need to respect every culture. People have meaning to their culture, why they do that and why this happens. So everything has a meaning, and smaller means at the end of the day, what people need is joy,
True.
peace,
True.
and humanity intact.
True.
So everyone is after that. So in that way it's smaller, but if you look into a wider picture, diverse culture, diverse way of living, diverse way of people look at things. At the end of the day, what every human needs is joy, peace, and something that we can work together and find solace. So in that way it's smaller. So I still want to explore a lot.
So you are a traveling geek, right? You've traveled Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Canada, US, and I don't know, my fingers might be. Okay. So what has been your motivation to travel? What does it bring to you?
Traveling, first I started with exploring places in India because India itself is huge. Every state you move, there is something different.
True.
Right? We have almost 28, now it's 29 I guess, 29 states. But even though we are Indians, how much of differences we have, right? From south to north, west to east, we have so much of diversity.
True.
So much to learn from each culture, right? About the way one makes food, how they eat it. Once when I went, they said that they would sit on the floor with their leg crossed and they'll eat. In India, we do that, right?
We do.
So it's a respect that we pay to the food that we eat.
True.
And
the land that we...
we pay a homage to the land we are in and we try to be there. So that is like a root of simplicity, at the same time paying respect.
True.
You move to Thailand, they have their beauty in simplicity is what I have seen in Thailand.
Right.
Like simplest of art, the wooden baskets that they make, everything. They have a thing towards art, and I have seen that in them. And they're very, very sweet people also. The Philippines and all, they have a way to talk, like so heartwarming. If you see also, most of the customer service, you find it from Philippines.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
They have a way to talk. Their conversations are very sweet. You learn quite a lot of things. And then Singapore, I said, the way they look at things, the engineering, the structuring, everything. Have you seen the details of everything? How the city is planned out,
Yeah.
everything. The Chinese culture. Chinese culture has a lot to talk about well-being, the food they eat, how it affects our food. They have those drinks that cools your body. They believe in yin and yang. So much of things that you learn which you would not be. So what I learned from these travels are like, you learn a lot.
True.
And you become humble because you know only so little.
Right.
I cannot have my head held up high saying that I know everything,
Right.
because it's the minutest of thing that I know in this earth, and there is so much more to learn. This
True.
travel has taught me to be humble
Right.
and being appreciative of what God has provided, the beauty of the countries that we have, the
True.
diversity and everything. So this traveling experience has been very humbling and also knowledgeable. I developed on a lot of cuisines. I had my
Wow.
reservations. I would not eat anything apart from the Indian food, because we Indians have that
True.
thing. We find an Indian restaurant
Right.
wherever we
Everywhere
go. Everywhere we go.
True.
But then that was my husband who taught me, like, no, try, embrace what they have to offer you. And my palate has never been challenged this much when I was in Singapore. So much of taste, Malaysian food. Everywhere I travel, I try to go and find places where they have that authentic food, and I keep on trying those. So those are experiences that nothing else can bring in, and that joy that brings in. So
True.
yeah, it has been.
So apart from traveling and apart from being a professional, you also do a lot of volunteering, right? I've seen your LinkedIn and you mentioned you've been volunteering for RAPS, you've been volunteering for Capra, and you're also part of our college regulatory group, right? So what is the motivation behind volunteering all these events?
In college, I started like Noora. I wanted to be a part like Noora that we have right now,
Right.
and I had an aim because I had experienced so much.
Right.
Like, I had a global perspective, what people come from,
True.
and what are the hardship of moving from a country to country. I know firsthand,
Right.
like how it is, how to navigate this. So even before I moved to Canada, I had a group set up on
Okay.
WhatsApp. Like, it started with few people, 4 or 5 people initially, whom
Right.
I knew, and I provided information there. Later it grew. Today I am not no more adding people into it, but then now it has grown till 200 people from our batch. So many people, I have not even seen them face to face. What they said, that the words or the action that you said at that time, like when they were like having the trouble of having their visas not approved, what to do next, because some people, they don't read through. I had time.
I was one of those people who texted you mentioning
So
about
Singapore taught me to read everything. Read your
wow.
SOPs, you read your things. So I was efficient in that way. So if the knowledge that I had, I could help with someone,
True.
I tried to help out the students over there. Like, even before coming, I did. And then when I came into the college, they all said, hey, we know you. Because I have never met. I was only chatting and helping out of the things that they asked me. They said, and that sense of happiness now, that like even that small thing that you did for them, if they could, that could give them a peace of mind at that time. That's what I understood, that I wanted to do it on a larger scale. So
Wow.
when I came to Northeastern also, there were people from diverse background, not only just Indians. We have people from Asian backgrounds, from Nigeria, Ghana, and everyone. They have their families. They are struggling to initially what all we have faced. So that was my motivation to have a peer mentoring thing and Noora setup. And also in a professional front, I try to network a lot. So if we can bring in these people, like all the industry experts, like using my connection if I have someone, and also working in collaboration with any of the services that we have, like we have our co-op services, bringing in speakers, that has been very helpful to our students there. So that is how I thought that I have this ability to network. And if I can pave a way to help someone through that professionally,
Right.
I started engaging with Noora. That was my goal behind being a part of Noora.
Right.
RAPS and Capra, I did that because I wanted to grow professionally.
Oh.
I wanted to understand what is the trend here,
Mm-hmm.
because APAC has different set of laws, right?
Right.
How their submission works, what is happening there. APAC works their own health audit. Here, it's more about FDA, Health Canada.
Right.
How, because I had no clue working with Health Canada at all.
Right.
So if I want a first-hand experience of what goes on, what is there, I need to be a part of some professional organization.
True.
That being RAPS and Capra.
Mhm.
Capra, I wrote my first vlog. I met some amazing people who are still there to guide me. They are working in
Wow.
some companies there.
Mhm.
They had been like mentors too. They gave me like some pieces of advice that helped me grow more. I remember there is a person from Thermo Fisher. I don't know if I could name that person or not, but I'm very thankful to that person from Thermo Fisher.
Right.
He told me that, Sherin, you have been doing work, but you have been laying low. You need to sell yourself. Right in.
Oh.
That is where, like, he told APAC works differently. Here in the Western American counterpart, you have to sell yourself. You have to brand yourself. Your branding, keep your branding always ready. So that is one piece of advice which I have been trying to, like, I do some things. I had that mentality. Now we all have that mentality. We do something, we just keep it to ourselves. That is through him. So there are so many mentors in life that I got through these organizations, whether it be RAPS or Capra. So that was to develop myself professionally. I wanted to invest in myself and understand what goes on and what could help. And there are so much of webinars that happen. Volunteering means I might be sometimes requested to introduce the speaker or represent RAP somewhere. I have a lot of time in my hand.
Right.
When I go to these events, what happens is like I'm putting up my time there,
Right.
but what am I gaining instead? The other day I represented RAPs for the PV Day that was organized by Zenith Pharma. I met the founder of Zenith Pharma.
Wow.
It's like the rarest opportunity. If you're sitting at home, you won't find this.
True.
I met people from AstraZeneca. I met people from few companies that made, like, you meet a person, like on LinkedIn you can be on chat and then try to connect. They may not connect with you,
True,
because
true.
they don't know as a person who we are. You ask for a recommendation, they may not know that. But if you put a face to who you are, what
Right.
your visions are, you understand that person more in
Better.
person, you form a connection with that.
True.
And then you reach out to them on LinkedIn. Hey, we met, we did this, we had
Right,
this
right,
conversation, and then I would love to stay in touch or something
Right.
like that. That goes a long way, If something comes up. Now, recently something happened that I met a person, I told them this is my journey and this is what something is happening. So they are like, a co-op opportunity came.
Right.
First thing they had in their mind was me, because they saw me.
True. True.
Right.
True.
So having that networking in person is very important.
Right.
And that is what I learned, and this has been that's something that I figured it out on myself. Like, people have been saying that, but the use I am actually understanding now. Don't make network just for the sake of gaining something. Try to form a meaningful connection, like understand what their values are.
Right.
If they are working for a company, what that value and how I can add to it.
Right.
Understand the strategies that companies are trying to put into place. The MedTech conference I joined also was like eye-opening things, like so much of innovation, so much of things that you're not even aware of. So what companies' future is, what they are aiming towards, we understand from all these conferences, webinars,
Right.
we put ourselves there, we understand where they are looking to and where we can prepare ourselves, what we can upgrade, what skills we can provide, because companies don't want to. If there was a simple question, like in an interview someone would ask you, why do you want to join this company?
Mm-hmm.
We say your company's values are good, you are good, that's why we want to. That is, you are saying your part, why you want to join. Why should they hire you for that?
True.
They know they are already good.
That's what we need to work on.
Right, that's what we need to work on, and just provide them, like, I have these qualities, I have these skills, these are these are something that you are working on, and
Yeah.
I can add value to it. If you can add value to it, salary and everything comes with it. So all these eye-opening things came to me after I started being a part of all these organizations, meeting people, meeting some CEOs, some startup companies, what they want from us. They have their tech, they have their ideas, they have everything. What can you offer us for me to hire you?
True.
So that is like great conversations, and I would encourage everyone or anyone who comes as a student, be a part of such organization, invest in time. Okay, we all need part-time jobs, we all need to be we are all adults, we need to pay our bills, but we need to find time to build ourselves, to form that network and understand things. Otherwise there is no meaning to it, you spending so much and coming here, there's no meaning to it.
That is lovely. That is lovely. Whenever I used to, check our WhatsApp groups or any webinars or any event that's happening, so every time I used to see Sherin, you were always the first one to, RSVP or maybe take the initiative of planning everything. So that's about education. That's about professional life, right? So you've been traveling a lot. You've been doing volunteering. You've been working. What do you do in your free time? Do you have your free time?
I do have free time because
Okay.
that has become very important to me. In Singapore, I didn't take time for myself at all.
Right.
Here, I'm blessed to have my sister and family.
Oh wow.
She has 3 kids. They are very handsful. So they have been a blessing. So I try to spend time more with my family, and then I'm doing long distance with my husband. Yeah, that's a part that I have been missing because I never thought in my wildest imagination, I never thought of moving away from him because the day we married, we thought that my dad and mom did long distance because my dad went to Saudi Arabia, my mom was staying back for us to take care of our future. But I saw that my mom had a lot of tough time growing us, but then this was something that I didn't want to do in my life.
Right.
Like I have my husband, we wanted to make each other grow, but be together. That is what I had planned in life.
Right.
But things took a turn, and then our goals, like we wanted to move out, and then both of us leaving our jobs together was not something we could fathom because one of us need to be working to support the other one person. So I thought I'll take this move. But then in this long distance relationship also, what I understood that he has been like staying with him. I understood that how supportive he is. Away from him also, I understood that how much he has been a strength pillar to me when I'm away, because I would cry out sometimes. I bear a lot. I'm very strong in that sense, I think. But there have been overwhelming situations here in Canada because at times you feel that, that, and especially when winter comes,
It's dead.
it's dead.
and,
You see everything black
grey.
and you see everything black and white. Everything is grey. That sadness start to set in, even if there is no meaning. Sometimes I don't know why I'm even sad.
There is a sense of solitude whenever winter comes.
Yeah, when winter
It's-
comes, that becomes so hard. But all throughout, it strengthened our relationship more. So I try to make time for my friends and family. That's what I do during my free time. And then, with the kids, I have, they have been like a constant source of joy because you have your own moments, right, where you feel down and all. Kids are full of joy and happiness. They don't know what you're coming, but they see that your mood changes. I remember my niece, she's 6 years old. One day something happened that I was just doing my dishes, thinking about something, and I was like so sad and overwhelmed. My eyes were filled. I remember that. I think I had a conversation with my mom which was a bit tough. I think something like on that regard or something like something. And I was like, why am I here? I was questioning everything at that time because those moments arise in each and every one of our lives, right? You self-doubt, that kind of thing happened. And I was washing my dish, doing my dishes, and then she noted that. She's only 7 years old. She noted that. She just came from behind and hugged me. And he's like, why are you sad? You're my sweetie. You're my cutie. And she started making me up, And then I was like, do you understand the joy that family can bring into you? That she's just 7 years old. So having family and giving importance is like beyond work. I was working so much, but then I now realize that it's not just work that I want to do. Because apart from that, you have people whose feelings, whose needs you need to prioritize. It can be your friends or family. And all my life, I want to be there for them, for my community or wherever I am. I need to be a part of that. Apart from the sense of just work, be present at the moment is something I learned, and that's what I try to do. I cook also.
Oh wow!
I love cooking, so
Wow.
that's also something that I do during my free time. That gives me happiness. So these are some things that I do.
So what I have realized till now is you have an amazing work-life balance.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by the work-life balance that you have. So, how do you manage this everything? Like, how do you manage the work? How do you balance to have a simple yet fruitful life?
Hmm. It took me years to figure it out, because I was a person who did not know prioritizing. When I started working in corporate, I'm working on something, an email comes, I go behind that,
Oh.
and I'm like, oh, this is important, then I'll start that. Then I see something else, something like some call comes up, immediate meeting, team hurdle, something comes up, and I'm everywhere. And at the end of the day, when I see I have started everything, what have I accomplished? What is the productivity? So I realized that this cannot go on. And then I'll extend my time beyond work to finish. Like if I finish off at like 6, I'll sit there till 10 to finish my things.
Right.
And what am I compromising on? My family life. So I understood that a proper balance, you will get exhausted. Burnouts happen.
Right.
Burnouts is a real word that happens, and you don't want to do it anymore
Right.
if you don't find the right balance. So what I started doing is like journaling helps a lot. I started journaling my day, so it also helped me to reflect a lot.
Right.
I started prioritizing things I want to get done. I had my short-term plan sorted out, like
Wow.
within this week, this month, this much time, I want to get these things done. At times I am able to accountable. Sometimes there are days I lag off, but this is something I know that journaling helps a lot, and having a short-term plan and a long-term plan where you want to see yourself,
Right.
and keeping yourself accountable and prioritizing things. You cannot be everywhere. Prioritize each and everything, like how much of priority it requires, and set a time. Be a master of your time. Don't let anyone else take control of your calendar.
Right.
You need to be in charge of your calendar,
Right.
your day. If you take authority of it, nobody can waste your time. You tell them that this is the time I have, and I can allocate this one. People bring in, so can you help me with this? Simplest of things, maybe they can do it, but they'll bring it on. I had this thing, I could never say no to anyone. That was an actual problem that I faced. Like being kind and being sweet, some people can exploit you.
True.
Because they know that you cannot say no, and you're kind enough to do it for them.
Right.
But if you keep doing that, that person will never be appreciative also, and you're not helping them.
Then they
You're not
start
teaching them
taking
how
you-
to do it.
True.
That becomes granted thing.
Yeah,
You're not
that's
helping that person also, and you're not helping yourself also.
True.
You start to have burnout. So I started saying no to things I think they can solve. I'll teach you, I'll show you once, like how to get it done. But then if you ask me something that's like not logically right with me, I have learned to say no in a good way.
Yeah.
Some people take it right, some people don't, but you cannot please everyone. That's what I have realized.
True.
And I need my time with my family, my work, my studies, everything. So saying no is important, prioritizing is important, and finding a balance between all these things, having a journal, and taking control of your own calendar is very important. And that made it a perfect balance for me till now. So it is peaceful. It took me a long time to figure this out.
Right. So if you would have to give a tip to someone who is willing to have such a fruitful life like yours and balance it out, what would that one tip be?
I'm still on a journey, exploring. I haven't reached that. The one thing I would say is like, prioritize things. Have a plan in mind. Don't let people say that I'll go with the flow.
Right.
I never understood that thing. I have tried going with the flow, but if you have an aim, you want to achieve something, you cannot go with the flow.
Right.
You have to take control of your time, of how you see things, or how you manage your day. You have to be accountable. You have to take control. Only then you can have something productive. If you really want something productive, you think that you want to clear this exam by this date.
Right.
Set a date.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thing in my mind, like if I want to do a rack examination, set a date for that. By this date, I want to get the examination and my certification done. Then look at how long it would take, how much how much of your time it needs. Divide your time. Put it on your calendar there.
Right.
And emphasize on your journaling that where it took. And when you journal also now, it's difficult at times, but then journaling, you can reflect on yourself,
Yeah.
how much you are being accountable. Journaling is a great tool. We have been never looking at it,
No.
like we have never been taught about journaling so much. Mindful journaling, I think we had a wellness class on journaling also. It's such an efficient tool to reflect. Only then you understand, because how do you account for your day? You don't have anyone at this moment. You and me don't have anyone over us, a boss over us in a student life again. You don't have anyone. How do you
Yeah.
find yourself accountable? These journaling, what you do, you see, like where you do. You don't have to, like, sometimes you take off also. It's okay. You don't
Yeah.
have to be guilty about it. Be happy about it.
True.
Take control of your time, that you are even if you're Netflixing and doing Netflix and binging, it's okay. That's something that you need for yourself, for your happiness, for your mental sanity. You need that, and it's okay. But then you stay on top of those chart and take control. That's what I would encourage everyone to.
So perfect planning, setting a deadline, and executing everything
Yeah.
is a perfect
Important.
way to balance everything.
Yeah.
I think that's the end.
Yeah.
It's a wrap now. Thank you so much for coming. It's a lovely conversation that I had. I would love to chat more,
Yeah.
but I think that's end to the video. Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Sharon.
much.
Yeah.
I think that.
Exactly. So
मुझे नहीं पता था that you were planning for PBC as well. Like,